time he calls you granddad and makes you feel real old. The time you take in all you've made just by giving life attention, and how you're glad you didn't waste it by looking down at some invention. The time you hold your wife's hand, sit down beside her bed, you tell her that you love her, lay a kiss upon her head. She then whispers to you quietly, as her heart gives a final beat, that she's lucky she got stopped by that lost boy in the street. But none of these times ever happened. You never had any of this. When you're too busy looking down, you don't see the chances you miss. So look up from your phone, shut down those displays. We have a finite existence, a set number of days. Don't waste your life getting caught in the net, as when the end comes, nothing's worse than regret. I am guilty too of being part of this machine, this digital world we are heard but not seen, where we type as we talk and we read as we chat, where we spend hours together without making eye contact. So don't give in to a life where you follow the hype. Give people your love, don't give them your like. Disconnect from the need to be heard and defined. Go out into the world, leave distractions behind.
Hey everyone, Nick here from The Resistance. And the Resistance question of the day is, which American World War II general was used as a decoy in the D-Day invasion on June 6, 1944, catching the Germans by surprise? Is it A, Field Marshal Montgomery, B, Ambrose Everett Burnside, C, Douglas MacArthur, or D, George S. Patton? The answer and more Resistance coming up right after this. And the Resistance question of the day is, which American World War II general was used as a decoy in the D-Day invasion on June 6, 1944, catching the Germans by surprise? Is it A, Field Marshal Montgomery, B, Ambrose Everett Burnside, C, Douglas MacArthur, or D, George S. Patton? The answer is D, George S. Patton. Feared by the Germans, Patton may have been the toughest American general who had ever lived. His army caused more German casualties and liberated more square miles of Europe than any other Allied army in World War II. Ironically, Patton's greatest military contribution may not have been on the battlefield, but when he was used as a decoy. Knowing how much the Germans feared Patton, Eisenhower strategized positioning him far from where the D-Day invasion took place. And now, back to the Resistance here on the Great Lakes Radio Network and PNN Talk Radio. Welcome back, everyone, to The Resistance. Nick Larson here, coming at you live from the land of 10,000 lakes, 10,000 frozen lakes, Minnesota. Yeah, you know, you betcha. Yeah, seriously, we really talk like that. Unless you're in northern Minnesota. Down in southern Minnesota, we don't talk like that. On the line with me, I got Jason. Now, Jason, where exactly are you calling from again?
I am calling from Harlingen, Texas, way down by Brownsville on the southern tip of Texas.
Wow, okay. Texas, yeah. Texas, all right.
Yeah, I'm about 10 miles from the border.
So now let me ask you, because I'm a huge Family Guy fan. And, one of the Family Guy episodes, they moved down to Texas and, stuff like that, and they depicted that, if you go to a liquor store, you get a gun. Is that true?
Oh, gosh, no, that's not true. But I would imagine some of the liquor stores, you can carry a gun in there now if you want.
Well, okay. At least there's some hope. I was going to say, come on. Why not?
Give a free gun for a bottle of booze, right?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is liquor stores and guns. I would think those are two things that really don't mix very well. But then again, I could be wrong. But then you go to YouTube and you get proven that, that's probably not a good mix.
Well, I guess it all depends if you're suicidal or not. I mean, I can understand what you're talking about, but, But anyways, folks, welcome back to The Resistance. We're talking about we're revisiting, actually, the 10 steps of closing an open society, i.e. America. And this literally is a couple pages out of Hitler's playbook. And we're going through all the steps here and how it pertains to the United States today. And so far, we've only gotten to step 3 here. And honestly, I think step 3 is going to be a quickie. Not in a sexual sense. But anyways, now step 3 here, Jason, is to develop a paramilitary force. So a military force that's beyond Congress, like the U.S. Military, Army, Navy, military, or Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard. And if anyone says anything about the Coast Guard not being the military, give me a call, because I got one hell of a fucking rant for you. My dad was in the Coast Guard, so... Anyways, now, develop a paramilitary force. Now Hitler had his brown shirts, the Gestapo. Mussolini had his black shirts. The United States had Blackwater. And today, we have the Department of Homeland Security. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, wait a minute, what are you talking about, Nick? Department of Homeland Security? That's a government agency. No, it's a paramilitary force. It's not, you can call it a government agency all you want. But it's a worthless government agency. What are your thoughts on Department of Homeland Security?
Okay, Department of Homeland Security.
Mm-hmm.
The directing board has all Muslim Brotherhood operatives on it. They've also procured through contracts, I think it's up to 8.8 billion rounds of hollow point ammo over the past couple years. And just to put something into perspective down my way anyways, and into this whole entire thing with DHS, the Border Patrol, who is directly under the Department of Homeland Security, one of their training places here, I can't remember if it's in the valley or up near Corpus Christi. Don't catch me lying on that one. But anyways, whatever little boot camp they go through, a lot of the newer ones over the past year who have been coming through have been told in order to qualify, you have to bring your own ammo. And my question to him was, why do you have to bring your own ammo? And he said, well, this is what they've told us. And I said, well, that's funny because DHS has acquired over 8.8 billion rounds of hollow point ammo, and a lot of that was actually 40 caliber ammo, which is what they get issued. So why are they making you buy this when they have plenty of it? And he couldn't answer me. But I mean, that's one of the things. And I want to say this, Nick. If anybody remembers when Obama, I think he was campaigning the very first time, he had mentioned on record his civilian army that would be just as well funded, and I can't remember what the other part of it was, but basically that they would be just as strong and just as well funded as the American military. And we see that he, along with his handlers in the UN and whatever, have been pushing to get all of these ISIS persons over here, or affiliated with ISIS over here, and basically we know how that one's going to go, and I really think that's the civilian army he was talking about. So there you go. There's your paramilitary, along with DHS.
Yeah, and well, and here's the thing: is when it comes to paramilitary, paramilitary. There we go. Paramilitary force. A lot of us Americans don't really know exactly what the federal government is doing or who they're in bed with. Like with Blackwater, this was during the second Gulf War. Now, if you're as old as I am, which I'm 35, you remember the first Gulf War. So,
yep.
But go ahead, Jason.
Well, no, I was just going to say that in a nutshell is going to be your paramilitary force, and now the question people should be asking is, why do they need that? Why? What are they going to use it for when we have our own military?
Right. Well, and as we've seen with President Obama, is that he is actually dwindling the U.S. military. I mean, he's reducing the numbers. He's reducing the arms. He's reducing everything with the U.S. military.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I'm a veteran, former Air Force. I was in during Clinton, and then of course Bush Jr. It really it irritates me. It really does to see what's going on. How a lot of our commanding officers throughout the ranks, that would be the Marines, the Army, the Navy, you name it.
So no. I'm sorry to interrupt you here, Jason.
No.
But now let me ask you this. Let us just say that there is a second shot heard round the world. And for you history buffs, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But for you non-history buffs, I'm talking about the Second American Revolution. So, now, Jason, my question to you is, do you think that the current U.S. military would support or defend against a U.S. revolution?
That is a very tough question, but I think that they would be supporting the current administration that's in, and I say this for a reason. People need to put this into perspective here. The reason why is we look at what's happened with our military to date. A lot of the ones who have spoke out and leaked the information about some of the questionnaires that floated around. Would you fire on American citizens if told to do so? We already know it's been and being talked about. Those people have been thrown out the door completely. And the ones that are still in there, and I will say this because I haven't been in the Army, I haven't been in the Marines or the Navy, but I know that the Air Force is being an enlisted person, a lower level enlisted person. You get a decent amount of pay, but basically you end up like the rest of Americans out there, living paycheck to paycheck. And this is where I'm going with this, and why I think the way I do, is because when it all hits the fan and the orders come down from this current administration that you have to go and disarm these people, and if you meet any resistance, shoot to kill. And whatever, if they say no, they're saying no to a paycheck that barely supports their family. And these people will have a wife and kids, and anybody with kids, and who's had kids, do you want to see your kids starve?
Well,
Do you-
and see, and